Milo Camden never thought of himself as a weather person. He owned no umbrella. He turned every broken one into a kite and identified the 4 seasons as good hoodie, no hoodie, light jacket, and why do I live here? Still, every morning before coding for the city library's website, he glanced at the forecast on his phone just to know whether to stuff sandals or galoshes into his backpack. His default app, Drizzle Dazzle, was accurate enough. A pleasant liar that labeled a torrential downpour sprinkles and a heat wave toasty. So when a mysterious new icon appeared on his screen, an umbrella splattered with neon confetti, Milo assumed the store had sneak-installed one of those freemium nuisances. The name beneath it read, Weth. Not! He chuckled at the pun, pressed to delete, and froze. The confirmation bubble warned, uninstalling may disrupt local meteorological harmony. Are you sure? Milo scoffed, snapped a screenshot for his group chat, and kept scrolling. The next morning he overslept, sprinted to the bus stop, and pulled up his usual forecast while panting. Drizzle Dazzle said, clear, 74 Kozai. But curiosity prodded him to tap, weth or not. A shimmering loading screen swirled, accompanied by elevator jazz and a chatty progress bar saying, blending clouds, squeezing lemons, bribing butterflies. At last, today's report popped up with a friendliness verging on conspiracy. 9 to a.m. Sun, 100%. 10 to 30 a.m. Slight breeze, 82%. 3:12 p.m. Raining tacos, 87%. 5:45 p.m. Rainbow likely to smell of cilantro, 62%. Milo barked a laugh so abrupt the lady next to him dropped her coffee. Raining tacos. Someone in their parents' basement was clearly auditioning for The Onion. He took a screenshot, posted it under Danzinho na Cap Fail Friday, and didn't think about it until lunchtime, at 3:12 p.m. exactly. While Milo wrestled with CSS in the staff lounge, a thunk rattled the skylight, then another, then a greasy splat on the table. Something dripped onto his keyboard. His co-worker Leslie looked up, her glasses speckled with orange oil. Did the ceiling just serve me a carnitas? The staff stared as crunchy shells snowed from the ventilators. Seasoned beef plopped into coffee mugs, and shredded cheese fluttered like yellow butterflies. Someone shrieked. Someone else grabbed a plate. Milo's mouth sagged open wider than the broken tortilla on his laptop. He sprinted outside. Tacos were indeed falling, slowly yet relentlessly, as though gravity negotiated a payment plan. They thudded onto hoods, stacked in gutters, slid down windshields. Every cloud wore a faint salsa blush. A dog trotted by, carrying a sour cream-soaked tortilla like a frisbee. Half the town squealed in delight. The other half demanded gluten-free options. Milo, in the middle of the street, held out his phone with the uneasy respect you give a grenade. The app had been right. Exactly right. That evening, local news anchor Sandra Pickens stood in front of a weather map, riddled with taco icons, ravaged by contradictions. She interviewed meteorologist Dr. Ron, whose usual poise faltered as he mumbled about localized tortilla updrafts. Social media erupted. A taco-apocalypse trended worldwide. Yet what fazed Milo most wasn't the edible precipitation. It was Weathernut's next item, rainbow likely to smell of cilantro. At 5:45 p.m., a double rainbow indeed arched across the turpentine sky, and passers-by reported a fragrant garnish in the air. Sandra leaned in to sniff her cameraman on live TV. Milo sat cross-legged on his couch, chips in hand, and reread the forecast like holy scripture. At the bottom shone a button. Suggest a location. On impulse, he typed, Milo's living room. After a cartoon hourglass twirled, a single line appeared. 2:06 a.m., 23% chance of confetti squall. Milo laughed but set an alarm anyway. He nearly forgot. Yet when his phone buzzed him awake at 2:04 a.m., he flipped on the lamp. Saw nothing unusual, and trudged toward the bathroom. Behind him, he heard a whispery hiss. He turned. From an invisible balcony near the ceiling, a shimmering column of confetti blossomed downward, hush rustling like an affectionate blizzard. Tiny paper stars glimmered on every surface. Milo stood in boxer shorts, mouth ajar, snow globe shocked as the cascade dwindled and stopped precisely at 2:06. "There's no way," he muttered, scooping glitter from his hair. He recorded a video, posted it, and by sunrise had gained 8,000 followers. His DMs turned into a carnival of exclamation points. Among them was Priya Deshmukh, a grad student in atmospheric physics who'd once TA'd his college stats course. Her message: "I need that app's APK, yesterday." They met at a coffee shop littered with paper umbrellas repurposed from the taco storm. Priya, wielding a tablet cluttered with spectral analysis graphs, demanded a demo. Milo obliged. The forecast now read 1:15 p.m. 72.88 degree, 2 Sandon p.m. Moderate chance, 46%, of spontaneously synchronized barbershop quartets in downtown square. 4:44 p.m. High probability 93% of rubber duck stampede along Riverside Park. Priya spit out her cold brew. It predicts not just weather, their events, and probabilities. This is like if NASA's Earth observing system became a sketch comedy writer. She poked at the code, frowning. But there's no dev info, no server address, nothing. The data flows from nowhere. She tapped again. A tiny pop-up flashed. "You look curious. Keep poking, and we'll forecast existential dread." She set the phone down as if it hissed. When 2 p.m. arrived, they hurried to the square. Tourist groups milled around. A hush fell. Then, without cue, 4 men in office attire abandoned their sandwiches, formed a diamond, and burst into goodnight ladies with perfect harmony. Across the plaza, 2 elderly women and a teen skateboarder joined in, baritones mingling with off-duty traffic cops. 30 seconds later, the singing stopped, and everyone blinked, bewildered, before wandering off as if waking from a dream. Milo's jaw threatened a union strike. Priya's eyes gleamed with delighted terror. By 4:40, they positioned themselves near Riverside Park. "If ducks come charging, we dive behind that lemonade stand," Milo suggested. Priya nodded while live stream viewers poured in. At 4:44, a mild quacking trickled from upriver. Then, like toy soldiers on parade, thousands of rubber ducks flowed around the bend, bobbing frantically atop a shallow surge that hadn't existed a minute earlier. Kids screeched with laughter, trying to scoop armfuls. Milo and Priya gaped as the tide of squeaky yellow resolved into neat rows, circled the fountain twice, and vanished down a storm drain no duck could physically fit through. Priya exhaled a single verdict: physics filed for bankruptcy. The next morning, Mayor Elaine Gilroy convened an emergency town hall that doubled as a block party because half the citizens were roasting storm-scavenged queso on portable stoves. She begged for calm, promised to consult the National Weather Service, and forbade further littering of guacamole. Reporters peppered her with questions. Did the city's liability insurance cover poultry-themed floods? Would school lunches now require taco helmets? Meanwhile, Milo showed Priya a push notification from Weather Not. Tonight midnight. 61% chance northern lights will spell knock-knock jokes across sky. Priya dragged Milo to her lab, where she commandeered a quantum workstation, 3 interns, and enough Thai takeout to bribe Poseidon. She proposed 2 hypotheses. Either 1, the app predicted an impending breakdown of causality, or 2, it was the cause. "Self-fulfilling prophecy," she said, jabbing noodles. "A quantum feedback loop. Observation triggers manifestation." Milo attempted to visualize an if statement, big enough to rewrite reality. Instead, He pictured a cosmic vending machine run by a prankster. They tested. Priya created a throwaway location labeled desk drawer under Priya's lab table. The forecast came back. 11:11 p.m. 17% chance of miniature rain clouds shaped like Benedict Cumberbatch. At 11:11, the drawer indeed filled with a misty puff resembling the actor's profile, which sighed elementary before dissipating. The interns screamed, then updated their resumes to include paranormal cloud management. "Okay," Milo said, voice trembling with giddy panic. "We just caused a celebrity nebula! We need to warn somebody." Priya shook her head. "Who? Noe. CERN. Hogwarts. The manual says uninstalling disrupts meteorological harmony. We need to know if that would reverse events or nuke Nebraska." The app chimed again. "New forecast. Tomorrow 3:33 p.m. 100% chance of cataclysmic marshmallow flood citywide. Bring cocoa." Underneath glowed a helpful link. "Purchase branded snorkel." Mayor Gilroy arranged a second emergency meeting, this time distributing life preservers. Sandra Pickens reported from a canoe anchored to the courthouse steps, though the streets were still dry. Citizens panicked, hoarded graham crackers, and attempted to get flood insurance riders that covered sugar. Within an hour, local hardware stores sold out of flamethrowers. Proposed toasting solution. Milo and Priya barricaded themselves in her lab. They needed leverage over the app. "Look," Milo said, scrolling the terms of service. An animated scroll that cackled every 10th line. Deep within the disclaimers was a clause. "Forecast generation directly proportional to active user base. Uninstalling reduces manifestation probability exponentially." Priya's eyebrows executed a victory dance. "So collective uninstall is our drain plug. We gotta convince everyone to delete it before 3:33. At 10:00 a.m., they launched Operation Unsync the Forecast, spamming social networks, hacking library pop-ups, and bribing TikTok influencers with leftover tacos. Yet downloads had exploded overnight. People worldwide wanted miracle forecasts. The probability of marshmallow flood now displayed as 112%. The app giggling extra credit. "Tipping point," Priya muttered. "We need to go offline big." She printed flyers laced with dramatic clip art marshmallows melting over city landmarks. Milo hijacked the emergency alert system with the mayor's panicked blessing, broadcasting a single instruction. "Delete! Weather not before 3, or drown in fluff!" Church bells rang it out in Morse code. Local skate punks spray-painted "Do uninstall" across overpasses. Even Dr. Ron held up a handmade sign during his forecast. By 2:45 p.m., uninstall screenshots saturated social media. Each time someone deleted, a faint ping echoed in Milo's app like a deflating balloon. The marshmallow probability ticked down. 90%, 70%, 55%. When it hit 37%, the weather icon of a frothy white tsunami shrunk to a polite dollop. 3:20 p.m. 2,000 townsfolk gathered in the square, phones poised on the uninstall button. Priya counted down from 10. At 0, a collective thumb strike echoed. Milo felt his phone vibrate, then go silent, as if an orchestra's final note ended mid-hum. The weather not icon flickered, cracked, and vanished. The square held its breath. Clouds drifted overhead, suspiciously cumulus but ordinary. A single puffy object the size of a shoebox drifted down, bobbing lazily. It was inevitably a marshmallow, just one. It landed on the mayor's podium with a forlorn squeak. The crowd exhaled laughter, cheers, and relieved sobs. Someone roasted the marshmallow with a novelty lighter, taller than a toddler. An hour later, as normal weather resumed its humble tyranny, Milo and Priya debriefed on the library steps. Drizzle-Dazzle reported, "Partly cloudy." And that seemed the most deliciously boring phrase ever coined. Priya speculated about buried alien code, rogue AI art projects, or a bored deity seeking Yelp reviews. Milo shrugged. Whoever it was, they didn't plan on civic solidarity. He pocketed his phone and suggested destroying the backup APKs. Priya agreed but kept one copy sealed in a Faraday cage for science, and maybe emergencies involving dessert shortages. Days passed. The town cleaned cheese from gutters, bottled rubber ducks for charity, and installed no food storming signs next to regular flash flood warnings. Milo returned to coding mundane pages about overdue books, yet life retained a mischievous shimmer. People tipped their heads skyward a little more often, expecting perhaps a falling croissant or whispered punchline. One quiet evening, Milo walked home under a docile dusk, phone silent. Yet he noticed the smell of cilantro again, faint, teasing. He halted, searching the horizon. Nothing but faraway city lights. He unlocked his phone. No mystery icon appeared. Just his usual apps in an empty spot where confetti once bloomed. He smiled, uncertain whether to miss or fear the mischief. A block later, a kid on a scooter zipped by, singing barbershop harmony under his breath. Milo laughed and kept walking. He decided that if the universe ever auditioned for comedian again, he'd keep an umbrella shaped like a tortilla handy, just in case. And maybe, he mused, weather had never been about predicting the sky. Maybe it was about the stories we tell when the sky decides to rain tacos instead of doom. In his pocket, his phone buzzed with a mundane calendar reminder. Thursday. Buy groceries. Milo added an item. Tortillas, cheese, nostalgia. As he typed, a tiny twinkle skittered across the screen, spelling in a font smaller than sense itself. Forecast. 2% chance you'll look up and smile. Milo slipped the phone away, glanced up, and, smiling indeed, kept walking beneath the beautifully ordinary clouds.